Welcome everyone to the Tuesday 20. Jensen. I'm filling in for Amber. She is in Atlanta already at some meetings for our Go Global leadership training, which we are excited to join her in a couple days. So we have a couple announcements. As you all know, we're running the boot camps. So if you want more information, if you don't know what that is, comment here in the post or in your Facebook group. And those have been really great. So if you haven't been participating in the boot camp, there's 2 boot camps. One for newer coaches that are ED or below that want to progress in your business, no matter what rank you are or how many clients you have. It's for everyone. There's another boot camp for anyone that has qualified for Go Global, so executive director or above, that want to progress, from that point. So there's 2 different boot camps. So just let us know which one you want to join. If you're not participating, you can watch the playback, and those have been great. Let's see, does anyone else have any other announcements? Let's see, there's training the first week in March in Orem, so watch for that. Anyone else have any announcements that we forgot? Okay, I'm going to mute everyone.
Okay, now you need to wait.
All right, I muted everyone. If anyone has something they want to share, go ahead and unmute yourself. But we have a special guest today. Kirtley Freckleton is doing our Tuesday 20 today. I always love hearing from Kirtley. She has great ideas. She is a hard worker and she has a great team. And so Kirtley, let's see, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
There you are. All right, let's turn the time over to Kirtley. And then if you, like I said, if you have any questions for Kirtley or if she opens it up for questions, just go ahead and unmute yourself and we'll just keep it muted so that you can have your background noise and not have to worry about it. All right, go ahead, Kirtley.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. How's it going? I'm going to change this to gallery view. So I was relying on Amber and Jared to be here to fill in for all the comments that they make because they're pretty good at taking time that I'm not going to know what to say. So I want you guys to please participate, and maybe even if you're a new coach, I want to hear from you today. That'd be really cool to see your face. Okay, so today's topic is excelling in your zone of genius, and it's actually different than what I thought it was originally when I signed up for it. So here's the commitment. It is, I commit to expressing my full magnificence. That right there is very dramatic. So I commit to expressing my full magnificence and to supporting and inspiring others to fully express their creativity and live in their zone of genius. Okay? So the first part is, of course, you living in your magnificence, which kind of sounds funny to say, and then helping other people too. So zone of genius, this is also known as flow. I don't know if you're familiar with that term. We've talked about it a little bit, but it's basically figuring out what you do that is completely natural and what you do for free. And so when I was in college, people would say the way to know what you want to do is think about what you do for free. And so I was like, well, I can't make money riding horses. I can't make money petting dogs. So what do I want to do? But we're actually going to take a step back and actually focus on those things that aren't necessarily what you're going to make money at doing, but figuring out the things that make you, you. And so right here, there's different zones of excellence, basically. So the first one is living in your genius. So the question right here is, like I said, it's what work do you so love doing that it doesn't seem like work? And this could be gardening or hanging out with your family or making meals. And then it says, which aspects of your work generate the highest ratio of positive results compared to time spent? That's kind of cool. And then in the excellence, it says that most of us actually live in the excellence area. So this is, what do you consistently get positive feedback about in your life and work, and what do you do better than just about anyone else? So I actually want to take a break. I forgot to say this. I read this chapter I listened to it about twice before I actually read it, and it kind of just went over my head. Because like living in your zone of genius is actually kind of scary. And if you don't take this seriously and like get your book and read it and highlight it as if you're going to teach it, you won't get anything from this. This will just be a nice, happy waste of time. And so if you really are committed to living in your zone of genius and in your full magnificence, you have to take time to study for yourself. So inside of yourself, raise your hand if you are fully committed, because that's what you're going to do. You'll have to take time, because that's what I had to do, and really like face my fears of why I'm not living in my zone of genius sometimes, okay? So just to put that out there, just so you know. Okay, so he was saying that most of us get stuck in our zone of excellence because we have these things called upper limits. Where they're basically the fence because there are fears that are holding us back. And so they're marked by keywords like, oh, that's too good to be true, like living a life like that, or what goes up must come down. And he says, oh, you get what you pay for. And so more negative things that hold us back. So this is part of my favorite thing that I read that really helped me to focus on like my inner self, okay? So these are the 4 fears that hold us back from living in that high amplified way of living. It says, first of all, we're afraid that we are fundamentally flawed. And so people believe that they cannot expand into their full creative genius because something is inherently wrong with them. I have totally thought that way. I've had made horrible mistakes in my life. I had times in school where I almost failed. I just thought, out of all my siblings, I'm the dumbest one. And I try not to say that one, but that's how I felt growing up, is that like, if you met my siblings, you would understand why. I'm like the free spirit person that likes to be outdoors all the time. But they are geniuses, and I just like, oh, I'm fundamentally flawed. Like, who am I to succeed, right? So ask yourself that. Is there something about yourself that you just, you're flawed, and so you're never going to succeed, if you have any thoughts like that? The other one is disloyalty and abandonment. Sometimes if you grow up a certain lifestyle, you're afraid that if you kind of rise above that you're going to be disloyal to your roots. And so then you'll end up alone. So that's an interesting one. I never thought of that. And the other one is more success equals bigger burden. I am totally there. Kids seems so hard to me because like you've got so much more responsibility. So he's saying those who hold this belief that more success is more burden think they can expand to their highest potential because they will have more burdens to handle. More to do, people that want things from them, life will demand more. So have you guys ever had that feeling like, oh, if I do better at health coaching, then I'm not going to have to be able to do this because this is what my life's going to look like, and I can't handle that. So it's interesting. That one was a major one that's held me back is, hey, I just like to be comfortable and float. What I've realized is I like to listen to podcasts to like really get me pumped up emotionally. And so the times when I'm really focused on those podcasts, and they're from people who are extremely motivated and that have busted through fears and really have amplified their life, those times I have thoughts of, oh, like, why live like an average person? Like, it's so much more fulfilling to be that busy, successful person. And then when I get complacent and those fears come back in, then I'm like, I can't do more. My life will be too busy. It's like when those fears will tell you such different thoughts than the feelings of success and just boundaryless. Someone asked which podcast I listen to. Achieve Your Goals by Hal Elrod, Amplified Network Marketing, just by incredible people who like have living their potential. And Amplified Network Marketing is the one that always says amplify your life. Like, get your relationships amplified, your finances, your everything, your health. So it's cool. Okay, so the other one is outshining. This one's an interesting one because it says that you are afraid that you're going to make someone look bad. So what about that one? Does that like ring a bell to anybody? So that's
people, Kirtley, I've had people, women in the business say that they're scared to be successful because they make more than their husband. I've heard that many times.
Interesting. Okay, thanks for sharing. Let's take a break now. Does anyone else have thoughts of you've heard of these things or you totally relate to any of those fears. Thank you, Chantel.
I definitely can relate to that first one that you're talking about, how you're saying you don't want to commit to something more because it's going to take away more time. Like, you're already feeling comfortable. You don't want to push yourself further. And I find myself thinking that too. How much more do I want to grow in the business, or how much can I handle? But then I look back and think, you know what? I'm playing it so small. Like, there's so much more we could be doing, and how much better would our lives be if we were kind of pushing ourselves a little bit more. So I love just kind of getting called out on that. Thanks.
It's interesting. You really don't realize it until you read it or you hear it. And it's like, you need to take this quiet time of deep reflection to see what those fears are. So thanks, Liz. Connie, it looks like you raised your hand.
Yeah, I think the third one with the more success means bigger burden is huge for me, because I'm afraid, because I'm doing so much right now, and with my 5 kids and keeping track of them, I have that feeling and fear that if I get more clients and if I succeed in helping more coaches, that's going to take more time away from my family, and that shouldn't be so, because it's that I'm not having to do other things because we're doing better with coaching, but it's still there, you know?
Yeah. Yep, totally. Thank you, Connie. Who else wants to share anything? Looks like there's some in the chat thread.
I'll say something, Kirtley. It's Sarah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this yesterday I was hearing from someone who was saying, like, I don't feel like I can commit more time. I feel like there's all this going on with my family. And I've definitely felt that way. But then, like, once you realize that you build this business around your life, you don't have to meet everyone else's demands. Like, you have a certain amount of hours, treat it like a professional. Like, you can actually just put your business where you want it and say no when you don't, and this idea of saying no, I think a lot of us feel guilty saying no, like, oh, I can't do the call right then. That's my family time. That's my dinner time. But you can't actually just do that. And I remember when I finally made that switch where I'm building my business around what matters most. My business is great, but it's not what matters most. So making that mental switch and just being okay saying no really, really helped me.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sarah. And you actually touched on a few things that we're going to be getting towards, so that's a perfect lead into it. Thank you. Does anyone else, even shy people, want to talk? Okay. All right, we'll keep going. Okay, so one idea too is that if you've noticed, like, we've watched our parents and how successful they are. We've watched our friends and family. So we have this expectation about what life should look like, how much money that we should earn, how healthy we should be. We really do follow the people that we know the most as they, like, set the example for us. So he suggests that we reprogram our expectations. And so reprogram it for greater happiness. Can you have greater happiness in your life? Reprogram yourself for higher fulfillment. Like, are you living, like, below where you can be? What about relational connectedness? Maybe with your spouse, your parents, your siblings, or whatever. So it's all about amplifying those areas and not being afraid and knowing that, hey, like, you're special, like, you can do this, you're important too. So that's big. And he says, yeah, just make that the new norm. When you do experience those great successes, you don't have to see it as this, like, once in a lifetime thing. Just say, hey, that's normal. Like, where's the next thing that I'm going to do? Okay, so here is an interesting thing to do. And I actually want to take time to talk about our genius zone because it's kind of fun. So he goes more into this about feeling in the flow. So when you're in your genius zone, it's kind of hard for you to tell that you're in it because it's almost like a fish swimming in water. And if someone goes, oh my gosh, you're such a good swimmer. And they're like, wait, what? I'm just living my life. There's moments when you do something, it's come so naturally to you that people look at you and they're like, I could never do what you do. And you're like, it just comes to me. It's so easy. So that's kind of what your zone of genius is. So I want to hear from you guys. What makes you guys happy? What's things that are very fulfilling to you and where you feel like you're in the zone and you forget about time and suddenly you look at your watch and it's been a long time. So let's hear it from you guys.
Okay, so shy.
Yay, Tammy!
Not really, but
I was hoping
Shy
you'd
down
say
here.
something because you're smiling.
I know, and I was like nodding my head to everything because it's like, yeah, I can relate to kind of like all of that at some point in my life. But being 51, I have moved on. No, well, I just want to quickly say that my thing that I get lost in is usually like painting or writing. But when I started, when I decided to become a coach, and doing all the education and doing all the reading and contacting people and just making those daily contacts, like I found myself like I'm sitting there and I have like I'm not doing anything and the TV's on and I'm just my husband's sitting there and I'm like, oh, let me grab my text, and I like Facebook somebody and go, you know, hey, you were interested in that, you know, 100-calorie snack thing, right? Do you want to talk about, you know, how I lost my weight? And I mean, you know, I'm texting people all the time and kind of work in the business just whenever I have a second. And it's not like work. I'm just sharing and I'm in a joy zone. And that's become like, just like painting. I can spend hours and not even realize that I've been working on anything.
That's so cool. Thank you for sharing that, Tammy. Wait, yay for being brave.
Hey, Tammy. I want to jump in, Kirtley, because being an athlete, like we talk about the zone or flow a lot.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think I notice more when I'm out of it than when I'm in it.
Oh, cool. That's a big deal.
So, like, there's a lot of times in my life that I'm like, and I know the way to get it back in usually is to just go out and serve people. But there's a lot of things that sometimes I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so off today. And it's just kind of that like, whoa, I am not in my zone today. I'm not in my genius. I'm not feeling it. And I think a lot of people, I hope I'm not the only one on this call that ever feels that way. But like, seriously, I notice when I'm out of it more. And the best way I found to get back in it is to just jump, like what Tammy said, to just be you and live in a place of joy and reach outside of yourself and find somebody who needs your help with anything. That is so powerful to just like take a minute, breathe, and then be like, okay, who can I serve today? What can I do? Like, I'm getting ready for Go Global and someone's staying at our house who hasn't stayed here. And I'm like overwhelmed with everything going on. And I'm like, why don't I just get to work and, you know, see what I can do to get my kids ready and serve them so that they have a great weekend. You know, it's just kind of like get outside yourself and all of a sudden you're in your zone again.
That's cool. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Kat. And that brings up, well, actually, I won't say this yet, but thank you so much. Appreciate that. Service is huge for filling back into that and just getting into that joy that you have. Very fulfilled life. Who else wants to share their zone of genius? What just kind of makes you, makes you tick, and that you love doing? Could be a silly hobby. I know there's someone out there. Jess, you're going to go for it?
Well, you know what? I was just thinking to myself, I have stressed myself out so much recently with things that are going on that I can't figure out what my zone of genius is. So if anything, this is reminding me that I need to go and have some fun. I need to find some time to just relax and be me and not be so stressed out. That's what being a coach is about. You know, finding what your passion is all over again. You know, remembering what your why is. What's my story? These are the things that have been going through my head. I've been a coach now for 15 months, okay? And so I'm in it. I'm in it for the long haul, but there are times still that I've kind of been like, am I in it? And I think maybe it could be kind of what Kat was referring to, if we're on the same level that way, that I don't know. So just being reminded of this is me. This is who I am. And I love that we have these Zooms because they build me. And I'm thankful for all of you. So if anything right now, I'm living in gratitude and I want you all to know how much I love and appreciate working with all of you.
Thanks, Jess. Thanks so much. That's awesome. Totally agree. Like this business is about like finding what your passions are and living that amplified life. And so go out and try new hobbies like the painting. Those are all super important. And I was talking to Jared about this and he says, you know, a big thing about coaching is coaching isn't necessarily the pinnacle thing that you want to do, but it leads to what you want to do. You know, it leads to those dreams and having time to do that. For me, I'm a big horse nerd. Some of you know that. I have dreams about having giant horses, Clydesdales or Friesians or whatever. Those cost a ton of money, and it's like $500 to shoe them every few months. And so through health coaching, first of all, I have more time to ride, and then I can earn money if I do want that in the future to have that. And that will help me like just live that fulfilled, amplified life. And so really like look into what your zone of genius is so you can use that and build that. And even as a mom, like that happiness that brings you will get shoved onto your children as well. So, okay, so here's one idea. If you're like, oh, what's my zone of genius or whatever, like that's so vague, it's so weird. One scary idea is to write an email to 15 of your friends and family. And so I actually had someone do this to me just barely. So I was like, perfect. Like it wasn't scary at all. Like I was happy to answer his email. And so he says, write this email, and maybe things that you can ask are, what am I doing or talking about when you experience me most energized and happy? When you experience me at my best, the exact thing I'm doing is blank. Or what do you see as a special skill that I'm gifted with? And what are your 3 favorite qualities you see in me? So there's a bunch of things, like you can pick and choose what you want to ask, but it'd be cool. Like do something scary this week. I'll probably send that email. If anyone want to commit to it, like email me or message me when you do it. And the worst that can happen is you can find out something awesome about yourself that you didn't realize someone saw. So, okay. We're going to skip this. Okay, this is where we're going to go to next. Is practicing the commitment, okay, especially with your business. It says to write down, so for health coaching, write down the last 10 or 20 things that you've done, and then write an up arrow right by it if it increased your energy, like just made you feel happy and you really enjoyed it, or if it did nothing, so neutral if you just have an arrow going straight across, and then have an arrow pointing down if it kind of de-energized you. And so I actually did this. I wouldn't have done this if I wasn't teaching this. So that's why I'm saying, like, take action and learn about yourself and actually do these activities. So I had 3 down arrows that I totally hate doing. And one of them is signing people up. It's so funny. Like once they say they want to do it, I'm like, okay. And it takes me forever to put their order in, which is so dumb, which should be like the coolest part. But that's just me personally. And so it says, this is what you do. For any down arrow, you delegate it, you dump it, or you do it differently. You do it in a way that does energize you. And that's why we talk about finding out what you love to do, is because you can actually sometimes mix that in with your work. And that's what I've loved doing. Like, I love being outside, so I'll take my Bluetooth with me on a walk. I can do calls. You know, that really energizes me. So let's talk about these. I actually really want your input about this. So delegate it. What are some ideas that you guys have seen with delegating things that you don't enjoy doing and it doesn't give you energy?
I have one, if it's okay if I talk again. So I don't do computers very well. Okay, I'm learning a lot in the last 15 months. I have done great. But because of that, I have my backup plan over here, this awesome guy right here who is helping me with that. And so I've delegated that to him as my co-coach, because that's not something that is my, what's the word? Something that I do really good. It's not a passion for me. It gives me anxiety. I'll just be honest, because I swear every time I do something like that, something bad happens on the computer and something comes up on the screen, and then I have to X out of something and I've hit something wrong. So already, if you can feel my anxiety, that's exactly what happens. So I don't have to do that. So I delegate it to him.
I love that. Thanks, Jess.
Kirtley, I think a lot of times we feel like we have to do everything ourselves, like to be like that woman, that superwoman that can do everything. And I think we get caught up in that. And so I think I love this part, like thinking of things you really don't enjoy doing and deciding, making a goal. Even if you can't financially hire a house cleaner right now, put that at the top of your your goal list, your vision board of having a house cleaner and working toward that goal. So even if you can't make those changes now on everything, like having that be your next step. But I think that we all have things that we delegate. And I didn't think that I do. Like, I'm kind of the person that feels like she has to do everything. But I just was thinking of things like, I have no desire to learn how to change my kids' flat tires. So I just pretend I don't know how to do it. And I say, ask Dad when he gets home, like anything with a screwdriver or anything. I could do it. My husband just does it great. So I just delegate it to him. So it's kind of the same thing with things, our roles in our life. Don't feel like you have to do everything yourself. Do it different. Maybe turn on music while you clean to make it more fun, even if you can't delegate it. But I love that, thinking of the 3 Ds.
I like that. Thanks. So yeah, delegation, that's great. And I talked to Jared about this too. And he says, don't see the difference between spending money on this business versus investing in yourself and how well you're doing. And so paying for Synduit, for example, that's that automated email system. If you don't enjoy, making sure you're sending the emails out, you're not doing it on time, it's not something you're great at, then paying the $29 a month for it. And he reminded me, hey, think about how much you make per client. And that's less than one client. It's making you better at your business. And so if you have ideas that you might want to hire some personal assistant or some nanny daycare or whatever, he talked to me about that too. It's there's a girl that could come to your house and just play with your kids. You don't have to pay her much. And what you're making from that business, that it will help your whole business go a lot better. So investing in yourself and your business is huge. And Jared's passionate about that, and he would tell really cool stories about it. I hired a personal assistant recently because I hate emailing. I just watched myself, whatever I was procrastinating, I thought, oh, I want someone to do that for me. So for a month, I wrote down everything I was procrastinating, and that's what I asked her to do. And I love it so much. And, it's not very much, and it's gone so much better. So that's an idea. Dump it, figure out things that are not successful. I did track what my action steps were versus what brought in clients. That was fascinating to see, because what I was spending hours doing wasn't getting any success. And what I was spending, the whole 20-80% rule, it was totally true. What I spent little time doing, which was my favorite, that brought in the most success. So take time to look at that. And then doing it differently, do it in a way that doesn't de-energize you. Liz already mentioned this, figuring out ways to make it more fun, even in other areas of your life, like listening to music when you're doing things. I've realized, since I took time to write down what my zone of geniuses were, what I really love doing, I realized that sometimes if I'm disorganized with work, it takes me all day long to get my stuff done. And then I don't have time to make a good dish for dinner, or I feel guilty going out to ride horses or training my dog because I'm I should be working. So one skill for me to learn from that is, hey, if I become better at organizing my time, which I've been working on super hard, then I'll work super hard and really enjoy that work because it'll be full of meaning. And then I'll have time to do the zone of genius area that I love and ride the horse without feeling guilty about it, that type of idea. Does anyone have any comments about that? Just in general about delegation or doing
Kirtley?
Yeah.
I do have one thing that I've noticed that, those things that you don't like doing so much, like for me, checking emails and stuff, make sure that that's during a time that's not your prime time, that you really are in the zone. For me, early morning is a great, my ideas are flooding. And if I check my email in the morning, it kind of ruins my whole day. It's I've got to get to my email later. That's not fun. I've got to do the things that energize me, like maybe some yoga or, playing with my kids or whatever. And that gets me going to where I can move on to the things that I need to get to the emails, but it's just not prime time for me, I guess.
Yeah. Wow. That's huge. Thanks for sharing that, Chantel. Think about that, you guys. Really focus on when you have the energy to do certain things so that your work is more enjoyable. Anyone else have something to add?
I'll say something, Kirtley.
Yeah.
I just think finding that motivation to do anything is impossible unless we have our vision. I just think that finding our zone of genius, kind of to recap all this, unless we have a vision, we will never be able to find that zone. And so our vision is only as big as we make it. So like, if we don't even know what our vision is, we can't live up to that. So we won't have motivation to do any of it unless we can envision how our business is going to be, how our lives are going to be. We will only grow to our potential as big as our vision, how we can envision it. So if we can envision business is going way far and our life's going way far, then we will be able to find that zone of genius even more, I think.
I love that. That was needed to say. So thank you for sharing that, Bonnie. That's a really good reminder. I do have funks where I will wake up and I'm like, I don't want to do anything today, you know? And so that doesn't mean that I should quit health coaching. It's time for me to reset myself and to remember the why. And you don't have to like everything about everything you do. One goal to have is to start have your why and start to want to like the things that it takes to get there. I used to be really shy and I was terrified of talking to people, and I wanted to get good at that because I wanted my goals, you know? And so I worked on it and it became one of my zone of geniuses. I love talking to people now and connecting. And then I mix it with going to the dog park because I love dogs, and now I get to talk to people at the dog park, you know? And so be creative, you guys. Really look inside of yourself. Find the things that you love. Take time to think about what you want in life, and then just amplify your life. Sounds cheesy, but do it and really take time for yourself to consider that. So thank you for all of your comments. I totally appreciate everything everyone said. You all inspire me.
Awesome. That was such a great call, Kirtley. It was just what we needed to hear. So thank you so much for that preparation and sharing your thoughts, and for participation from everyone. And everyone that's going to Go Global, look forward to seeing you in a few days. If you haven't qualified for Go Global, put it on your dream board. Make some action steps to make sure you're there next year, because it's amazing. And stay tuned. There's going to be some great announcements at the end of the week from Go Global. So we're excited to see what is in store. We love you all. Have a great Valentine's Day. Do something to love yourself and love someone else today. Have a great day. Bye.